So, hey guys, it has been a while since the last time that I made a YouTube video. Actually, it's probably been about a year now, maybe more. Last time I was on my YouTube channel, I was really focusing on the premise of self love. I wanted to show the world that it was okay to love yourself out loud, and in an ironic twist of fate, I actually stopped making my YouTube videos because I became self conscious after overhearing a bunch of catty girls in a locker room talking about my YouTube channel and making fun of me. But you know what? I realized that there are more people out there that need to hear about the stuff that I have to say than people that are going to make fun of it. And even if it touches one person and makes that one person feel better about themselves, that's good enough for me. But today, instead of really talking about like self-love in terms of body image or anything like that, like I usually do, I'm actually going to really focus on a topic that has a pretty severe stigma around it, and that is mental health. I don't know if any of y'all follow me on Twitter, but if you do, you've probably seen I've been engaged in a little bit of a controversial argument in regards to a man telling one of my friends that medication is unnecessary, and it's really just like fake and it doesn't actually work. I'd like to point out that this man has no kind of medical credentials. He actually sells health insurance, which is why he thinks that he understands that medication's a joke. And he also is just kind of like attacking the premise of using medication for serotonin. I'm going to be the first to say that I got this from Kristen Stewart's video when she was talking openly about her clinical depression. She said that no one would deprive a diabetic of insulin, but as soon as someone needs a serotonin inhibitor, it's like all of a sudden it's just unnecessary, it's uncalled for. Do I think that some doctors hand out medication too easily? Yes. That happens in all different kinds of like mental illnesses. I think some people have access to medications that they maybe don't need. But that's also because I understand that not all illnesses, like mental illnesses, need to be treated by medication. However, when you have tried everything else, it is really hard to continue moving forward when none of that is working. I don't really talk openly about it because of this stigma, but I do have pretty severe depression, and I also struggle with just functioning anxiety. A lot of times they go hand in hand, but my psychiatrist, at least the last one that I saw, basically just told me that mine are completely different things and they affect each other, and it affects the way I live. And I've lived with it for a really long time because I was afraid to go get help, and I was afraid to go on medication because I knew the stigma and I thought they were unnecessary. I'm going to be the one to tell y'all that everyone thinks medication is unnecessary until it isn't, and it's too late. I don't know how long I've been on my medication now, probably a year and a half, but if you knew me a year and a half ago and then you looked at me today, you would understand how using this medication has completely changed who I am as a person. I remember my best friend coming to my apartment scared because I lived by myself because she knew that I was in a depressive state. She had to drag me out of my apartment and take me to this like homecoming luau for our university, and she wanted me to be in public. She wanted me to not feel alone, and she was worried about me. I couldn't control my moods. I knew that I wasn't acting in an appropriate way. I was always upset about something. I was always crying. I couldn't stop myself. And you know what? To be honest, I was scared because I had become so lost in my own mind that I didn't know what to do anymore. So with a little bit of a push and encouragement and love from her, I started going to see a counselor at my school, and the more we talked, the more he just kind of told me that he knew that I needed help. Literally, the very first thing he said to me was he looked in my eyes and he was like, "Oh, honey, do you need to talk to somebody?" And that was the first time where I realized that you can't hide everything with a fake smile and a little bit of laughter. You can't always pretend to be happy because there is going to be somebody that sees right through you. And that's what I was always so afraid of, is that vulnerability. But after talking to him for a while and kind of going through all these different like procedure, I don't really know the right word, doing all these different things, we realized it still wasn't working. In fact, it was probably getting worse. And he advised me to talk to my parents about going to see an actual medical doctor who could prescribe me with the appropriate medication that I would need to help myself function like a normal person. And I bawled my eyes out. I was so scared. I know that I've always had a stigma against mental illness. I've always believed that there was a way to overcome it naturally. And the truth is, that's just not always the case. There's literally proof that the chemical imbalance in your brain, like, and I'm just going to say I'm not a scientist, which is why I'm in communications and I can talk to a camera so openly without feeling like a freak. But I don't know anything about science. All I know is that there's just some cases, guys, where medication is necessary. And today on Twitter, when this guy was trying to say that it wasn't, I kind of got a little bit of a kick out of all the different girls who were kind of coming together who all were also on medication, talking about all the suggestions people have given us in order to fix our mental health and our mental state. It's like, one of them was like, oh, mental health is just a state of mind. It is? Like, mental health is literally, it has to do with your mind? Like, I was like mind blown at that point, literally. Like, you're telling me that my mental health is just a state of mind. It's that easy to understand. Like, no kidding, guys. I know it's a state of mind, and that's the issue, is I don't know how to control it. Next thing. Hey, Sydney, you should just, like, take a walk sometimes. Like, what? You want me to just take a walk when I'm feeling depressed? Like, do you not realize that sometimes when I'm feeling depressed, you have to, like, bring 4 people to pull me out of bed, let alone get me to go outside. Now, while I will admit that going on a walk in the sunshine and kind of clearing my head, listening to Christian music, doing anything like that, it does cheer me up. But does it treat, cure, and control my depression? The answer is no. Next, you should like try and eat clean and work out. Well, damn. If it's that easy, sure, let me just get another gym membership and, you know, maybe I'll eat extra tilapia because in case y'all didn't know, people literally know me by Body by Che. I work out every day. Has it helped regulate my mood? Absolutely. But I worked out before my medication too, and it really didn't do much. So you're telling me that working out has helped me while on my medication. Isn't this crazy how this is working? How like things are good aids to the medication, but they don't actually cure anything, contrary to popular belief. My personal favorite is when people tell me that when they're feeling sad, they just make a list of 3 things that they're grateful for that day. Works every time. Oh crap! I'm really pissed that my doctor and my therapist never told me that that's how easy it was to overcome depression. Guys, did you know that? I could just list 3 things that I'm grateful for. I'm gonna tell you what, I do that every single morning. Not because I think it's gonna cure my depression, but because, yeah, it is a really good reminder, guys, to know that there are a lot of good things in life. I literally have the world's best family. I have the best friends I could have ever asked for. I have a career that pushes me and makes me want to be the best person ever. I live in an amazing apartment. I'm always eating. I'm always sheltered. I am always able to find something to wear even if it takes me 3 hours. I live a really good life. But does that balance out anything in my brain? No. It is literally a chemical imbalance that I cannot control. I went on medication and I wasn't a whole new person immediately. But like, I don't really know how to explain it. Again, I don't have any kind of medical credentials, guys, so I'm not trying to sit here and tell you exactly how it works. But what I can tell you is that it like slows down my mind and the reactions in my brain, and all of a sudden I can control how I feel instead of just reacting. It's like all of a sudden when I feel like I'm about to cry, I can talk myself out of it. And when I feel like my heart is racing, I can tell myself that everything's going to be okay. I don't care what anybody says. Unless you've had a full-blown anxiety attack that leads you to tears, I don't want to hear your opinion. And honestly, even if you have had one, I probably still don't want to hear your opinion. Because I just want to make something clear. You don't get to tell me, you don't get to tell anyone how to handle their mental health. Now, if you think someone is genuinely doing something that's hurting them more than helping them, have a conversation, communicate, but it is not your job to tell me what to do. It is not your job to tell me that I shouldn't be taking medication. Because ask anybody who knew me before and who knows me now. I am a different person and I have never been so happy. Do I still have days where it sucks and I can't control the fact that I want to sit in my room and cry? Yes, I do. Because medication does not cure me. It's only helping me. And that's a mistake that's made a lot too, guys. I do this thing sometimes where I convince myself that I'm cured and that I'm okay, and I have a lot of really good months. So what do? I go off my medication. And you know what? Ask me how that's gone for me. It hasn't worked out ever. And every single time I have to lean myself back onto my medication and I realize that I'm okay. And now I literally have to spend almost every day convincing myself not to go off my medication. I literally set an alarm every day. Take your medication, take your medication. Because you know what? I can feel the effects when I'm not on it. Do I want to eventually be able to get off my medication? Yes. Is that time now? No. It's just at this point where I really know that I need it. I tried everything else, guys. I go take hot baths and eat chocolate and drink tea and light candles and listen to calming music. But there are still some days where I just don't have it in me to do anything. And there are always going to be those people who think that they know what's best for you. But if what they're telling you is something that you have clearly outlined to them, that it hurts, that it destroys your day and it ruins your mood, that person doesn't have your best interest in mind. I get it. Mental health is something that people say you can't prove. But you don't have the right to tell me how to feel. You don't have the right to tell me what I feel. And you don't have the right to tell me how to fix it. Because in the end of the day, that's something that's up to me. Medication doesn't magically make me happy. Doesn't magically make me calm. Medication is slowing down the world around me so I can teach myself how to react. I think one of the best things that this guy on Twitter said to us today was that in his opinion, people need to stay away from medication and they just have to figure out what angers them, what makes them happy, what frustrates them, what pleases them, what saddens them. He said that, you just got to figure out your mind. That's what I did. What? Seriously? And yes, I did have this on standby just for that because that's literally the face that I made. I know what frustrates me. Stupid people. Ignorance. Not being the best at what I do. I know what makes me happy. Spending time with my family and my friends and my boyfriend, watching the Ohio State Buckeyes kick butt in football. I love working out and being at the gym. It saddens me when I see other people hurting, and it just really, really makes me angry when people are giving unsolicited opinions that are hurting other people. It excites me when I see someone I love doing well. It excites me when I see people overcome their own personal battles. I know that. I know myself. But that doesn't mean that I can defy science and control the chemicals in my brain magically. I know myself probably better than a lot of people around me. And that's because I knew myself well enough to seek help when I needed it, to understand that medication sometimes is necessary, and that it's okay to just tell someone that you need something a little bit more than what you're giving and what you've got. Guys, mental health is not something to be ashamed of. With all that being said, I just want to make one point. If you don't struggle with depression, anxiety, or any kind of mental health illness, you don't get to tell me how to treat it. You don't get to tell anyone how to handle it. If you do struggle with some kind of mental illness and you don't take medication, you still can't tell me or anyone else that we shouldn't take it either. Because every single person is different. Every single person heals and copes differently. Every single person's body is different. And that's something that everyone seems to understand on all other spectrums, except for when it comes to mental health. So until you educate yourself, until you feel what I feel when I'm off my medication, until you know what he or she feels when they're off their medication, you don't get to make any judgments. You don't get to tell me how to live my life. And I certainly don't need to ever justify again why I take medication. And I'm not ashamed of it either. So that's all I've got to say for today, guys. I ranted a little bit. I'm not editing this at all. I didn't write out what I was saying, but that's how I feel. And if you have a problem with it, then just don't say anything. Because it's my body, not yours. Thanks.